Hi, my name is Chloe from Go Chlo Pilates, and this is Good Moves with Well+Good. I'm so excited today to take you through a beginner-friendly Pilates workout. So this is great if you're new to Pilates, maybe a little bit nervous about getting started, or if you just want a bit of a refresher of some of the basics of Pilates. We're still going to do a good workout, so you'll get a good workout as well, I promise. And let's get started. We are going to begin on our back. So come on over, lay on down. We're going to start with a bit of core work, a bit of abdominal work. So lay yourself down onto your back, have your knees bent and your feet flat. Your feet are about hip width distance apart. Take your hands just onto the fronts of the pelvis, just hands flat, sort of onto the belly. Let the elbows relax down into your side. And we're gonna start here with what's called a pelvic tilt. I want you to flatten your lower back down into the mat so that there's no space between your low back and the mat beneath you. And then do the opposite and arch through your low back, creating lots of space between your low back and the mat. And if you even want more feedback, you can even put a hand under there so that you feel it. You're gonna squash the back down or squash your hand if it's under there, and then you're gonna arch up. So what we're doing here is creating this movement through the low back, our lumbar spines, and creating this movement through the pelvis as well. You're gonna breathe out as you flatten the back down, breathe into arch. Breathe out to flatten, breathe into arch. One more time like that, really feel the movement, the flattening of the arching, and then find the halfway point between those two positions. We call this our neutral spine. We've got this natural curve through the low back, and I just want you to hold that position there. Now, to engage through your core muscles, I want you to think about a gentle drawing in of your belly button in towards your spine. Hold that there, and then take your hands behind your head. You're gonna interlace your fingers fully, have the thumbs pointing down the back of the neck, little lift of your elbows, and then curl your head and your chest up and hold it there. I want you to let your head feel heavy in the hands here. So actively press the head a bit back into the hands and the hands into the head, and then lift up as high as you can, but keeping that little bit of space between the low back and the mat, so don't lose that. Lower down, breathe in, curl up, breathe out. And then keep that going just with your own breath. The most important thing that we do in Pilates is breathe. I mean, that's the most important thing always, but just try not to hold your breath. Don't worry too much about when you breathe in and when you breathe out. I'll guide you through it, but if you mess it up, don't worry. Just make sure you breathe. And lower, exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. I want you to feel like this curling up and this peeling of your shoulder blades up off the mat beneath you. Make sure your head feels really supported in your hands. So little bit of that press back into the hands will help with that as well. Keep it going, getting those abdominals working. Keep that drawing in feeling, belly button in towards the spine for 5 and 4 and 3 and 2, and on the next one, lift it up and hold it there. Now, keeping the head heavy in the hands, you're gonna take your left leg to tabletop. This is tabletop here, and then place it down, and then lift your right leg to tabletop, and then place it down. And then keep that going, that marching. You're gonna breathe out to lift to tabletop, breathe into place down, other side, breathe out to lift, breathe in to place it down. And take a little glance down at your hips and your pelvis, and notice if you see any tilting or rocking from left to right, and see if you can correct that. See if you can keep the pelvis really still and steady and stable, so there's no rocking like a boat left to right. That's it, keep it really still. If this is enough for you, stay right here. It's a great way to build support and strength through the pelvis, through the low back, through the core. If you want a little bit more, bring both legs to tabletop. We're gonna go into a little toe tap. Left toes are gonna dip down. Let's just go about halfway, and then back up, and then right toes, lower about halfway, and lift back up. Keep the same bend in the knee, lower from the thigh, from the hip, and then pull back in. Breathe in as you lower, breathe out to lift. Good, and then you can start to make this movement a little bit bigger. Maybe you even take the toes down and tap them down onto the mat. Can you lift a little higher with that head and chest? We lower, we lift, we still have just that little bit of space between the low back and the mat. Don't lose that, don't lose that. Remember, you can make it super small if you need. We're here for 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Drop the feet down. 1, 2, drop the head down. Just open the arms and just rock the knees from side to side. A little bit of a stretch out. All right. From here, we are gonna come into some bridges. So what you're gonna do is bend your elbows, have the elbows just down beside you, feet flat, about hip width distance still. And we're gonna peel up through the spine. I want you to do that same flattening motion we did at the start where your low back flattens down into the mat. Then we're gonna continue to peel up. You're gonna roll up through your spine, peeling up until you're resting right up onto the upper back or onto the shoulder blades. Now at the top of your bridge, hold it there. Often we wanna lift the hips a little bit too high, and then we're gonna extend a lot into that low back. If anything, drop your hips slightly, tuck your tailbone under, and then think about your rib cage drawing down towards the pelvis. So you're almost closing the space between the ribs and the pelvis, keeping that connection, okay? And then we're gonna roll back down slowly, level by level, melting all the way down, and then finding that little arch through the low back. We breathe out, we flatten the back, we peel all the way out, finding that connection, ribs, pelvis tucked. We breathe in, we melt it down. And then just keep that going. I love doing bridges because we get this really nice articulation and movement through the spine. This is especially good if you are a little bit stiff in your spine. It just helps to free up the movement, and at the same time we get a great little workout for the backs of the legs and for the glute muscles as well. You shouldn't feel anything in your low back when you do bridges. If you do, make the movement much smaller. So just gently roll the hips, maybe the low back off the mat, and then roll back down. Good, keep it going. We're gonna go for 3 more like that, all the way up, all the way down, and 2, and lower. Last one, come all the way up, hold it up there, tuck under that tailbone, and now lift your heels up, come up onto the balls of the feet. Now, if you feel like your feet are too far away, they might be, just walk them in a little bit closer, lift right up onto the toes, and now you're gonna drop the hips in one movement. You're gonna drop, your butt's gonna kiss the mat, just a gentle tap, and then lift all the way up. Breathe in, lower tap, breathe out to lift. Now keep the weight evenly spread through all the toes, so rather than rolling to the outer edges of the feet, see if you can bring a bit more pressure into the big toes. That's it, we lower. Don't lose that rib connection and that tuck of the tailbone under as you lift. Breathe out with each lift. Inhale, lower, exhale, lift. Inhale, lower, exhale, lift for 5, and 4, and 3, and 2. All right, last one like that. Lift up, hold it there, reset, tuck that tailbone. You're gonna open the knees out wide as they'll go really. You'll roll to the outer edges of the feet, and then you're gonna draw the knees in and see if you can actually touch them. You might not be able to, but you might. We're gonna open the knees wide, and then we're gonna bring the knees to touch. Breathe out as they open wide, breathe in as they come into touch. Now see if you can do this without lowering the hips at all. So keeping the hips at the same height. So we're just getting this rotation through the hip joints, this external rotation and internal rotation. So strengthening and mobilizing into the hips at the same time. Feels so good, right? We are here for 5, and 4, and 3. Can you really squeeze the knees together if they touch? Last one like that. Open back to just hip width distance apart. You're gonna lower the hips an inch, lift an inch, down an inch, up an inch. So it's like a little mini bridge. Keep that tailbone scooped right under. That's it, and keep it going. Can you press a little more into your big toes? Can you draw the ribs down a little further? Maybe speed it up a little bit for 10, 9, for 8, 7, 6, last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Melt it all the way down. Just give the legs a quick kick up towards the ceiling, just to give the backs of the legs like a quick stretch out. Doesn't matter if there's a big bend in the knees. And then you can bend the knees and roll yourself all the way over onto your hands and knees. So hands are gonna come underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. I want you to really spread your fingers wide here. So take up space underneath the hands, and then press through the knuckles and really lift up through the chest like you're pushing yourself away from the mat. Now draw the shoulder blades slightly down, away from your ears. And again with the rib cage, can you think about this hugging in, this drawing in feeling through the ribs? From here, you're gonna take your left leg and kick it straight behind you. Now once you kick it out, I want you to pause, okay? We're gonna really perfect this. I want you to drop the left side of the pelvis down slightly. And I want you to notice if your weight has shifted over into that right hip, the stabilizing leg. And I want you to move the body like an inch to the left, like everything shifts a little over. You should feel everything engage a little bit more. Bring the leg back down and then extend it back out. And just keep that going. Bring it in, reach it away. That's it. Now this is one of those exercises that is, I guess you could call it a basic Pilates exercise, but the more you do it, the harder it gets, because the more we do this sort of exercise, the more we learn about where our bodies are in space. We build what's called body awareness or proprioception, and it becomes harder because we learn how to correct and not compensate with this. If you've ever had any sort of injury in the back or the hips or the knees, you might notice a big difference between the two sides as we do this, which will be nice and interesting for you. We're here for 3 and 2. And on the next one, reach it out, hold it out there. Keep the leg straight, just tap the toes down onto the mat and then lift the leg back up. Breathe in, lower tap, breathe out to lift. See if you can have just a tiny bend in your elbows just so that they're unlocked. Make sure the back of the head is lifted up in line with the rest of the spine, and keep pressing through the hands to lift through the chest. Good, for 4 and 3 and 2. One more, lift it up, hold it up there, keep the toes pointed if you can, unless your foot feels like it's gonna cramp, then flex the foot. We're gonna draw a circle. I want you to draw a big circle, like the size of a giant watermelon, up and around. Good, can you feel the shoulders working, holding you in this position? Can you feel your abdominal muscles start to kick in to keep you balanced and centered? Can you feel the muscles in the back of that left leg, so hamstrings and glute muscles working as well? Let's reverse that the other way. Nice big circles, nothing else is moving. Make sure you're breathing, don't forget that, up and around. That's it, keep it going for 3 and 2. Keep that leg really straight. And 1, come to the center, hold it. You're gonna do little lifts up and down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Lift the chest a little more. Can you draw the ribs in, the belly in? Keep it going up and down for 10 seconds. 9, 8, can you go a little quicker? Last 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it all the way down. Open the knees wide, toes together, and sink into a child's pose. Fold the chest forward. Let the forehead relax down into the mat and crawl the fingers out in front of you. Hold it there. Take 2 big breaths here, in through the nose and out through the mouth. 1 more time, deep breath in and out. Let it go. Walk the hands in. Let's do the other side. Let's do it. So bring the knees back in, right underneath your hips. So set yourself up, hands under the shoulders. If you want to come off the wrists, you can also do a fist, or you can also come down onto the elbows if that feels better for you. But let's do it. Chest lifted, press the mat away, draw the shoulders away from the ears. We go right leg out. Now once you get there, hold it still. Let's set up here. Make sure you drop the right side of the pelvis down. Make sure you think about drawing belly and ribs in. And then see if you can shift the weight a little bit over to the right, so we're not sinking all the way into that left side. We're gonna take the leg in, breathe in. We're gonna extend it out as we breathe out. Inhale, fold it in. Exhale, reach it away. That's it. Still thinking about that connection through your core muscles, that balance through the pelvis. In and out. That's it. This is sort of like, it's not just a leg strength exercise, really sort of full body integration exercise, because everything is working to stabilize here. So good for our pelvic stability, our core strength, our posture. 1 more like that. We keep the legs straight. You're gonna tap the toes down onto the mat and then lift the leg up. Breathe in to tap. Breathe out to lift. Can you find, again, that tiny, tiny bend in the elbows just so that they're unlocked? And as you lift that right leg up, make sure you drop the right side of the pelvis slightly down so pelvis stays square. That's it. How do the 2 sides compare for you, for your body? Is there a big difference between the 2 sides? How does it feel? Good. For 3 and 2 and 1. We go watermelons, big circles around. The movement is coming from the hip, but everything else is really still, so we stay long through the sides of the waist rather than sort of crunching and leaning in. That's it. Feel that burn. I definitely feel it. Last one this way, and we reverse it the other way. Up and around. Reach those toes away from you. Can you lift the chest a little more? That's it. Keep it going for 2 and 1. Hold it there. We do little lifts up and down, up, down, up, down. Reach those toes away from you, and then maybe go a little quicker for 10, 9, 8, 7, for 6, 5, last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it in. You can sit back into a quick child's pose again. Sit to those heels, knees wide. Fold the body forward. Take a nice deep breath in and out. And then you can stay right there or walk the hands in because you are all done. Thanks so much everybody for joining me. My name's Chloe, I'm from Go Chlo Pilates. If you want more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to the Well and Good YouTube channel, and I'll see you soon.